this week's rig rundown was fun because big longtime fan of Helmet. You know, they put out two of my favorites from the 90s. They had Meantime and Betty. If not familiar, check those out. Those are awesome. Those alone would, you know, cement someone's legacy in hard rock. But Page, who's has a signature event Horizon. He has a signature Horizon, pink Horizon, with a highly specifically designed DiMarzio, which he's been using for years. Fryette. He has a rotation of pedals, but what I found most interesting about that rig rundown was while doing homework for it, obviously I knew the band had continued and they played, I put out 10 records and been, you know, up until I think the most recent one was last year. But I didn't realize he had so much work done in film scoring and that he was also part of David Bowie's touring band, I think in the late 90s, early 2000s. So those both got brought up, and his application to guitar and scoring and doing film and TV work, but also being a part of David Bowie's band. So he comments on that. And the end of the video was really great. I asked him a question about what he still enjoys or why he still enjoys playing guitar. And I think a lot of us and a lot of you viewers will connect and probably agree with his answer. But yeah, go check out Heat again because I guess Paige Hamilton worked on Heat, and that's a worthwhile revisit because who doesn't love Val Kilmer, Al Pacino, and Robert De Niro, and a little guitar playing from Paige Hamilton. All right. This is Chris Kies for Premier Guitar. Today I'm at the Exit Inn in Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm joined by Paige Hamilton of Helmet. Paige, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
It's been, I think, over 10 years since you spoke with Perry on the tour bus, I think, at this exact venue. So
yes.
It's cool, full circle moment. We got you on stage. Obviously, people have already heard you play a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll ask you to do that throughout the interview. But talk to me about what's on your shoulder here. This is not, you know, the magenta Horizon that people associate you with.
This was the first signature model I did with ESP. And it was based on the aluminum leaf that a friend of mine, Eric Sanko, who's an artist in New York City, plays in Skeleton Key. He was at Lounge Lizards, John Lurie and stuff.
Okay.
He's a great artist. And I had this black guitar, and I didn't want it black guitar. And so he had this aluminum leaf, and he put it on the top, and we finished over it. And it just looked gorgeous. And so I wanted to kind of recreate that. So it's this brushed aluminum look. Originally, my fantasy was that my first signature guitar would have a neck pickup and a bridge pickup because I do a lot of movie stuff and soundtrack work, and so I wanted a really versatile guitar. But then I just found I can't deal with a neck pickup in Helmet, so I've done this. ESP, I drive them nuts. They make me a beautiful guitar with, I'm like, yeah, I want the neck pickup. They made me this beautiful guitar recently, and then like 2 weeks later, I'm like, can you just take everything out? I just want the bridge pickup. They're just like, yeah, okay. So then they plug it here, fill these plugs in. But that was kind of the original magenta ESP, which is at home now. We have we have the replica that I travel with. So this
that one's just probably a studio friend. The original.
That stays home now. Yeah, I got lost in Mexico for my tech said like 4 or 5 weeks, and I'm like, I'm not traveling with it anymore. Wow. So this is the relic, or whatever you call it, the reissue of that guitar, the second signature model. So it sounds incredible. I mean, ESP does not make bad guitars.
They even put the spring in there, what you put in the original?
Yeah, we put the spring in there. We don't have the fat guy from the Led Zeppelin album cover. Because from Physical Graffiti, there was the guy sitting in the window there, and so that was in the original. And then there's a dog pile sticker on the back of the original. I always take my back plates off to use the springs for sound, something I stole from Caspar Brotzmann, the great German
Yeah, you
guitarist.
guys did that record together in the 90s.
Yeah, Zulu Time. Yeah.
So would you say throughout the night, especially with Helmet, this would be now your kind of main guitar?
This is my main.
Okay.
Yeah, this has been my main on this run. It kind of varies each tour for some reason. I have one of these with our Europe setup. I have one of these and one of those as well, and it's just kind of different nights, different guitars sound better, or you just have a feel for it depending on. I don't know. It's weird. Like I have a black one that I love, a Horizon Custom. I was using that, but this one is just sounding really good right now.
And what tuning are you typically in?
This the new Helmet stuff for the last 10 years or so is drop C, so C, G, C, F, A, D. Originally we were in drop D, D, A, D, G, B, E.
Okay.
So and then there's songs like Sinatra that are tuned, that there were the B strings raised up a minor third to D, so you get that cool unison thing. And then other than that, there's some weird tunings on Murder. That's just like a detuned, purposely out of tune, thing. And I use a G&L on that. You need a single coil pickup because it's such a dense sound that I just, and it's really fun to play. But
are you playing Sinatra on this run?
Yeah, we have it. Yeah.
That's cool because I know the Deftones had done a cover of that song.
I still have yet to hear it.
Oh, really?
I'm curious to see whether they got the bridge right, because there's some. Since I have two guitars to write for, I do a thing where we start off unison with these chords shapes, and then I keep ascending while the other guitar goes back down. So I'm harmonizing. It's basically a diminished scale, so diminished chords you can move in minor thirds. And for all you jazz nerds, Steve Vai does, that. What's the movie with Ralph Macchio?
Crossroads, yeah.
Yeah,
the devil.
he's like, yeah. So it's like, it's not just us jazzers that use diminished, but there's your diminished kind of with a little chromatic crap in there. So yeah, it's fun, really fun song to play. So I want to hear their cover. I'm pals with, friendly with Chino and Steph. So.
Well, I can't wait to hear your reaction to how it sounds. It's a great song on there.
Cool.
What can you tell us about what you do use when it comes to composition? Are you using a guitar that's more, I guess, might have the neck pickup? What are you going for when you are doing film stuff? I know that's a big part of your career.
Two different beasts. When I'm writing Helmet stuff, I'm using, because since I discovered that drop C is great for my voice, being a baritone. Mm-hmm. I have two guitars. I have a gold, this blue Strat that I have here, this ESP Strat. It's called the Vintage Plus.
Okay.
These are the guitars I use when I play with Bowie in '99 on the Hours tour. So I have three of these: a black, a gold, and this blue one. And this is tuned standard. The gold I leave to drop C because I used that on the new Helmet album for the John Coltrane piece we did.
On Left, right?
On Left, yeah. The song Resolution, which is kind of a tip of the cap to one of my great heroes. So I write with that one, the gold Strat, a lot, and then I have ESP made me one of their USA custom shop guitars that's got steel frets, and it's no whammy bar, so it's super in tune. And then I have a green Horizon Custom I've had forever that's just really in tune for when I'm writing. So whammy bar is, just for live, unless I'm doing something. I do have a song that I've been trying to make work that has a whammy riff, but it's just so hard to keep it in tune.
Yeah.
Even with like a Wilkinson or a Floyd, but yeah.
Now, when it comes to composition stuff, your main tool, is it the guitar still, or do you use other instruments?
When I'm doing, I was just over at Third Band today, and I was telling those guys about a piece I wrote for the oldest high school orchestra in America is in Memphis, Tennessee. It's called Christian Brothers, and so that's the orchestration was basically woodwinds, brass woodwinds, and double bass. So I need samples, so I use a keyboard when I'm doing that stuff, and I rarely use the guitar for if I'm doing an orchestral piece. Mm-hmm. But on Helmet is all written on the guitar. Trying to think what else. When I'm doing the soundtrack stuff, I'm hired for my odd take on the guitar. So like Elliot Goldenthal, the first big movie I did was Heat with De Niro and Pacino, and that was I just use a lot of pedals. Use my Fryette. I use the Fryettes for everything except for jazz, and that's why I keep the deluxe here for the jazz thing. Fryette. These are just incredible amps for rock stuff, for noise. I used them with Bowie. I used them on all those movies. When I did It's the one with Robert Downey and Annette Bening. In Dreams.
Oh yeah.
They flew my scrap to Abbey Road.
Wow.
So I stood in the Beatles room in B, like by myself, looking at that staircase that goes up to the control room.
Yeah.
You know, if you've seen it a million times, with my half stack and my guitar. I was just like, oh my
You're just thinking George
God.
Martin's up there telling you what to do.
Yeah, I'm like, and they're doing All You Need Is Love, that same exact room that they were all in with Donovan and the Stones and everyone. So, and I literally went up to the wall and just like hugged it and inhaled. I was just like, this is the room. You know,
Osmosis is real.
It's so cool. It was so cool. But this was the rig right here that I used for that movie. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned, and I know this is kind of a rig show or what we talk about, but what was your experience touring with Bowie? You mentioned it a couple of times. What was that?
It was amazing. He's just such a sweet guy. I could kind of describe him as your super cool uncle who just happens to be a genius. You know, it's just like, he's just a great dude, man. He was really complimentary about my guitar stuff. He said a couple things. One thing he said I'll never forget was, it sounds like it's very abstract what you do, but it's very thought out. He's like, he said, you remind me of a bit of Phil Manzanera from Roxy Music. And I was like, thank you, that's amazing.
Yeah.
He told me I nailed the guitar sound on Rebel Rebel, which we did on SNL, so you can hear it. And it was that guitar and that amp.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. It speaks to him because all the guitar players he surrounded himself. You know, Mick Ronson and obviously Stevie Ray Vaughan for that short time. And yourself on that tour.
Yeah, Peter Frampton.
Reeves Gabrels.
Reeves. We get way better guitar players than me. I'm just like, I'm not worthy. I'm just a dumb, hardcore metal dude.
Well, your abstract mind worked enough for him.
Worked with him, yeah. No, it was great. He told me he was a fan the first time I met him in '97, and then I got the call from him a couple of years later. So it was, it's really cool. But
yeah, what an honor.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, speaking of honor, I'm taking up too much time. Let's keep cruising. I know the one thing we didn't do on this guitar was strings. What do we use for strings?
Oh, I'm a D'Addario guy from forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. I use it's, I think they call them the XL 140s. I don't know the name, but it's like 10 to 52s.
Okay.
So and they've been so consistent for me for a million years, and they're just a great company. I love them. I use their straps, Planet Wave straps, because I have a broken collarbone. I have screws in my collarbone from a bike wreck I had, and so it's painful if I have a thin strap or something. So I started using these, and they're great. It's really.
And I know the last part of the puzzle when it comes to the guitar is that you play with really heavy picks.
Yeah.
Is that from that same shoulder injury?
No, I just like the sound. It's Buzz from the Melvins turned me on to Clayton, a great company in Ashland, Oregon, right near my hometown, in Medford, where I grew up. And I just started playing different materials, and I just love the way this is. I'm going to mispronounce it. Acetyl. ACETYL, I said, whatever, the material that they use, and they work for me. And the other thing that, because I'm singing and I'm doing switching, I'm doing solos and stuff, I don't want to think about the pick.
Yeah.
So they're triangular, so it doesn't matter which corner I'm
and they're
happen
big.
to be holding.
They're like 1.5.
Yeah, I have a damage, nerve damage in my hand. You can see the scar there.
Oh,
I crushed a glass in my hand in a stupid incident many years ago.
Yeah.
And so I had 10 stitches underneath and 10 stitches on top, and so there's so sometimes I'll lose. This is kind of numb here, so I want to feel the pick, and I just like the snap and kind of percussiveness, of them. And then these pickups, because you can see, are DiMarzios, and they're designed by Steve Blucher, who's kind of
big history with them.
Pretty retired, yeah. And I'm friendly with Larry and stuff. I'm a little bit. I got to be honest, I'm not even on their website, and it kind of pisses me off because Steve designed these pickups with me.
Yeah, the Air Zone, right?
Air Zone. We did it together in our basement rehearsal space that we shared with Sonic Youth and the Weigels way back in the '90s. And we came downstairs. I had a TC parametric EQ. I'd play. And being a non-technical guy, I'd be like, I can't feel it right here. I need to feel it right here when I go up here. I got to feel that in the back of my teeth. And it's like this is too. I need to feel the air down here. And so Steve would be like, okay. He'd go wind a pickup, put it in the guitar, come back, and we do the same thing all over again until we came up with this pickup. And then I asked Larry a couple of years ago, why couldn't it be the Page Hamilton? And he didn't say anything, nothing. But whatever, they're great pickups, and Blucher's a genius.
Well, was your time with Steve, how many times do you think we went back and forth in that original design?
The original pickup, it took us about probably the total, 4 or 5 weeks.
Okay.
But I think, I'm going to say it was a long time ago. I'm going to say it was probably the 4th time I was like, yes.
I could feel it in all the quadrants of my head.
It's like clearing my head and my bowels or whatever. Yeah, Steve. Good work. So,
now, are all those in kind of the same across all these Horizons here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Every guitar has the same pickup. The blades that he'd put in my fenders, my Strats, and other guitars I use, I don't know what he did.
Okay.
He just told me, he said, I have these pickups that, he came up with something. I trust him. Yeah. I have an old original ADA flanger, and he and I have talked, a lot about sound and pedals and stuff, and he can hear, what I mean? So that's, we talked about that pedal, which I love the pedal, but it does compress the signal, and it's got like 2 applications, like most pedals, you can't get a million sounds out of a pedal, but it's fun. I love working with Steve. He's total crack up, he's a hilarious dude, really funny.
Now, just real quick, you have the snake skin, it looks like, and it looks kind of like a burst of some sort, or a...
Yeah, the snake skin is that's an original Horizon Custom from the late 80s, just like my original magenta guitar.
Okay.
And I have a white one as well from that era with the reverse headstock and the Floyd. And there was a red one that got stolen. I was just talking about that from Gainesville, Florida, off stage. And then there was a blue one that they lent it to me, and I saw an old video of us at the Fillmore in San Francisco, and I'm like, I called the president, Matt, at ESP. There's a blue ESP Horizon Custom from 1993. I'm on stage. Can I have that guitar back? He's like, it's been sold probably for 20 years, you dumbass. And it's like, he said, we'll make you one just like it. I'm like, no, I want that one.
Yeah.
And so a guy contacted me. He's in Long Island, and he wants like $5,000 for it. Whatever. And I'm like, I'm not a millionaire rock star. Sorry, dude. The burst is that snake. Sorry, Taylor. I'm messing up your thing. The burst I use for Sinatra.
Oh, okay.
And this, since it's a different tuning, it's just a stop tail piece.
All right.
It's gorgeous guitar. It just sounds so good. But those chords I was talking about are just this simple voicing, like, and it moves in minor thirds. You can hear the diminished thing, kind of. So I just use that for the original Sinatra guitar I gave to a kid. He was a karate teacher. He was 16. He worked under our master Bennett Subacto in Kingston, New York, and he couldn't afford a guitar. So I called up ESP, and I'm like, hey, I want to give this kid, he wants to play guitar, can I give and they were like, of course. They've been really cool in that way.
Yeah.
So he's now he's a grown man and has kids, and and he's a master, like a 8th degree black belt.
Wait. So do you have a black belt, or what level are you?
No. I made it to green belt, and then I went through a divorce and left that area and never studied again. So. But yeah, I loved it. It's a great discipline, really cool. I'm a scrawny guy, and I could break boards. And I was just like, "What? How do you do?" That's the whole thing. It's pretty intense. Man.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool art form. Yeah.
It's a gratifying thing to be able to do those things.
And just I love the mental, mental discipline that it. It was very similar to music in a lot of ways, where you had to really focus and block out everything else, and just when I'm writing or doing anything, it's like I put the phone away, I do everything. I've been giving lessons during the pandemic and continuing, and because I just love it so much, and I try to get my students to get on my practice program. I think 1 out of like 30 of them actually, it's like, just 30 minutes a day, okay? You can do it. 10 minutes of scales, arpeggios, and then chords. And they're all like, kind of like, 2 weeks in, I'm like, how's practice going? I just want to learn riffs. I'm like, all right. So I teach him helmet riffs. It's like it's whatever. It's really fun though. It's really been a good time. But yeah, karate's an amazing art form, discipline.
What strings are you running?
These are D'Addario NYXLs.
And the D'Addario NYXL.
But they're D'Addario strings, and I've been using those since forever, and I love them.
D'Addario strings as well.
D'Addarios. Right.
D'Addario. I've been using D'Addario.
I'm a fan of D'Addarios.
Started using these D'Addarios. I like the D'Addario NYXLs.
These are D'Addario, and I got the NYXLs on here.
Well, on that note, let's move along. We have the Fryette here. We already kind of alluded to that this has been a long mainstay in your rig for a long time. What is your, obviously you have a strong relationship with Stephen Fryette.
Yeah.
But what have you liked so much about the Pittbull and what that offers for you and what it does for helmet and apparently all your other gigs?
The first amp that he brought me was a 2150. I hope I'm remembering the numbers. We were at Capitol Records working on the Aftertaste album in LA. And I wasn't happy with my power amp. It was a modified amp that kept overheating and cutting out. And Steve Blucher said, and I also, the rig I had was all custom. Spent thousands and thousands of dollars on preamps and a tube buffer, but we'd have to disconnect, we'd have to unscrew the back plate of the tube buffer and have it hanging off the back during shows because it was shorting out. It was just a mess. And I said, I just want an amp that if everything craps the bed, plug straight in and I can rock the show. And he said, you should check out this guy VHT, now Fryette. And he brought that power amp in, and the co-producer Dave Sardi and the engineer Greg Gordon and everybody at Capitol, the minute they unplugged from the I won't say what company that made the other amp and plugged into the Fryette, everybody stopped what they were doing. I was like, what is that? Oh my God, that's my new power amp. And it was just like life-changing. And then Steve and I developed a relationship, and he started talking about his different amps, and he knows what I do, and he's a fan of the band and stuff. And I said, it's got to be great to have a 3-channel amp, and so here we are. So I have old Marshalls too, and they're great amps, but for what we do, because I use kind of denser chords. I'm going to take the gate off for a sec and go. I could actually go to the clean channel if I want, and just so we could hear. So a lot of the helmet chords don't contain thirds. So if you were going to play we're in drop tuning, right? C. So this would be like this is not concert pitch because we're tuned down to C, but I'm lazy.
I feel like you're about to give me a lesson.
I'm not going to transpose. So this would be, it's an F major 7 sharp 11 chord with the third in there. But the first chord that I came up with in helmet in whatever year was this. And I just love that big open sound. But you listen to all the bottom and top. So you have all those overtones that are happening when you add distortion. And a lot of amps just muddle it up and turn it into kind of indecipherable gook. And I want to hear those chords because that's what the melodies are derived from, those chords. Here's a major 7 sharp 11, with no thirds and an open E string, which is going to be a 6 or 13. So sus chord, major 7. I showed this to Limp Bizkit, but I don't think they did anything with it. So I just love that I can hear that have this full spectrum, and I can hear every, I can hear the color of the chord, and I can get that feeling, because obviously chord colors create an emotional, there's an emotional response, and that's, and if you just hear the mush, like amps that are super midi, like mid-rangey, and you can't hear the upper tertials, it's really frustrating for me. And I just with Steve, I've been so happy for, man, I don't even know how many years now, 1996.
Wow. So
a long time we've been working together. And so, yeah. So he's got something in the works, but he didn't want me to talk about it yet. But I want to talk about it.
Something to look on the horizon for.
Yeah, I want to talk about it so bad. But he's like, no, I'm not ready. I'm like, okay.
He's one of those mad scientists that, I'm sure everything has to be checked in terms of wanting to get it out the door.
He's a genius. There's no question. I've been so lucky to work with him and Blucher. We're just brilliant. Both brilliant guys that can hear. and you know, it's just been, it's awesome for me, you know, because like I started off and I bought my first Marshall at Sam Ash in Queens, you know, and I didn't have anybody, you know, that would be like, yeah, I can help you make that sound better, or here's what you do. I was just plugging like these lousy digital preamps into the front of these this beautiful Marshall. I had this 50-watt Marshall, and I plugged like a Yamaha GEP50 into the front of it, and that's my sound. Everybody's like, yeah, such a great sound. And we know, I had this conversation with Billy Gibbons when we played with ZZ, and I was like, I was really surprised to see you play like a late model Telecaster and a Digitech like 2112 preamp. And he's like, it's all on the hands page, and basically it is.
Yeah.
This gear is important. So, but you find what works for you and what you can make, the amp that you can make sing and sound right, and work for what you're doing, and Fryette's just been amazing, so.
I just got a notification offside here that we should keep moving. But
yes.
What do you know about speakers, real quick? Do you know?
Oh, Steve
me.
designed them. I want to say they're Eminence, but we've changed the speakers so many times I can't remember.
Okay. We'll throw it in the comments. We'll check with Steve.
Ask Steve. Yeah.
He's a fan of PG too. So
I can't tell you the name he gave these that he designed because it's typical obnoxious Fryette, but it has something to do with butt and something else, and he's just such a smart ass. I'm like, what are these? What's the speaker called? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, thanks.
Well, we'll cruise through your pedalboard because I see you have your rack mount delay, right?
No, that is now. I got rid of
for the longest time you had the rack delay.
The Bradshaw, yeah. I got rid of all that stuff.
So it's all kind of condensed down here.
Yeah, Fozzie over at Tour Supply put this. I made this little board, so this is I take this everywhere with me, and then this is just. I got two of these now. I love Bradshaw dearly, but he's unavailable. He's in Lidditz, Pennsylvania, and he doesn't respond when I have a problem. And so I said, I'm just going to do something that's generic, that does what I need to do. I don't use that many pedals, so I have this as like, I'm only using 4 of these loops right now. I'm going to use the 5th one for this later. But yeah, it's just a Boss ES5.
Okay.
And you can back it up, plug one into the other. So I have 2 of them in case something happens. And then I use Boss pedals because they're indestructible and
find them anywhere.
Find them anywhere if you have a problem, and that little pad instead of a button is such a better design.
Yeah.
Because I'm singing, and when we travel, I can't travel with this rig, so I'll bring a board, and I've used so many different pedals, and I'll miss the pedal, or you can't. And these I can turn on 2 pedals at once if I want, whatever. And then I use these H9s from Eventide.
Probably modulation, delay, time-based stuff.
Exactly, yeah. So this will be for my solos, and I created a sound for Enemies, that song I was just playing there that has the low octave thing, and then this will just be for like tags or if I feel like adding the backwards sound for a solo. I have like 6 or 7 patches on that, and then like 97 patches of that one.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah, so that's just kind of fun. Like at the end of Give It on the album, there's a dun dun dun, that minor 7 chord with the delay on it, so I can. So I'm trying to hold my earplugs if we're going to play loud, but I can play this with. I can add, I'll do the delay just like. So little shit like that, or we have a song, we do the Bjork cover, and I just made up, I did a little slap back for the song that we do, Sam Hell, that's got that bluesy. So just a little plate verb, and then the Bjork cover, just kind of a cool, just make a kind of sound effect kind of stuff. So stuff like that, and but this will be for my solos. I just use these 2 distortions, the turbo and the metal zone.
Oh, we got to hear both of them combined.
Yeah. I pulled that patch out. I had a patch with both of them together, and it was just too messy. And then I use this my dear friend gave me this feedback booster. So for a song we have called Dislocated, I can just hold this pitch over the. I'm gonna put my earplugs in. Do you have earplugs in?
I do.
Okay.
I'm prepared.
Yeah, good.
And then we'll get off stage to get. I know you guys have to get the sound check, but we got to maximize as much time when we have Page Hamilton.
first one is the DS2, the old DS2.
Yeah.
Which is a special pedal for me because it's a very dear friend of mine who passed away from cancer. His brother wanted me to have all his pedals, and so that's like my kind of a special pedal. And the metal zone is just a generic metal zone, but it sounds awesome. It's the song I was talking about where I do the sustain thing. So I have a patch with no gate on it, and I can just play the. You can kind of control it, you know, so I can still sing at the same time.
Yeah.
And then this is just a Mission electronic.
Expression? Or is it a
Mission
wah?
Expression. It's an Expression
Okay.
pedal. They're amazing. So I can just bring one pedal and control both. Since I'm never using, I am using it at the same time, I guess sometimes, but I can control different parameters, you know,
With the Eventide.
feedback, delay time, or whatever with the Mission. And this is just kind of for fun. I just have this because if I want to do anything. It's just kind of, I mostly do it to annoy my bandmates and sound check, but I do use it sometimes for a solo when I want to do kind of in combination with the whammy bar. You can get some cool stuff. So.
I think I got one last quick question for you before we got to get escorted out of here. I know your tour manager is ready to kick our ass. Is that overall, it's been 40 plus years you've been playing guitar and performing. What do you still enjoy about playing the instrument?
God, I would not. I could not live. I could not exist. I wouldn't have. Everything. Like I wake up. This is the first time I've touched a guitar all day because I went to, you know, their Third Man's putting out our vinyl, so I went to meet those cats, and it was really exciting. And then we're doing this, and so I finally got to play guitar. Every morning I wake up, it's the first thing I do. They ask these guys, I'm in the back lounge of the bus, and been doing lessons from the back lounge of the bus on Zoom and stuff. And the guitar, it's about music. But there's a friend of mine who's an art history professor at a university in Portland sent me a study that guitar players' brains are different than everybody else, but even other musicians. There's something that we're addicted to that we cannot exist without it. And I know this to be true because I'm a miserable, you know, asshole if I don't play guitar for, like, if I, you know, go to a family thing and I didn't bring a guitar, and my family's like, you are, you know, just like, I just have to play the guitar.
They send you down the street to a guitar center quick.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's an incredible instrument. We're still breaking new ground. I mean, I do things if you heard all these movies I played on, it's unrecognizable as a guitar. Or I can strum my callings in the living room or play a jazz. I just told you, a jazz album next year for MPS Records. You can do anything with the guitar. You know, I can try to get saxophone sounds and or guitaristic things, and it's just an incredible instrument, man. I just love it. Feel super lucky.
Thank you for your time, Paige, and thank you for everything you contributed to the awesome instrument that we're all addicted to.
Thanks, guys.
You guys stay safe and see you next time.
Yeah.
When you realize your band sounds like something you'd actually listen to.